Okay, moving on to part 2 of our winter tree project. So if you watched part 1, you should have a very simple sketch of a tree or a Christmas tree with a border around the edge. I want to create the same drawing on top of this black sheet of paper. Now it might help if you have a triangle tracer. I just want to remind you a couple things. So I'm going to put my paper down to show you. So if I'm going to draw my own tree, or if I'm going to trace a tree, I want to make sure my tree on this paper, I can fit at least 3 or 4 fingers at the bottom of my paper and 3 or 4 fingers at the top of my paper. So just keep that in mind when creating your tree. Now, I'm going to just go ahead and trace this triangle tracer. You can do that with a scrap sheet of paper, a piece of cardboard, or you can draw your own. I'm not sure how well you can see those lines, so I'm going to just lightly go over my lines with a white piece of chalk so all of my viewers of this video can see the lines no problem. Once I have my tree drawn, I need to create a border around my paper. So when I create a border around my paper, remember that I want my border to be at least 2 fingers wide. So when I create this border, I'm going around my paper. Got a little bit narrow there at the bottom. So I created a frame or a border around my paper. Okay, so you're going to do the whole rest of this drawing on your paper. So I split my tree in those diagonal lines, adding a star if you want to, splitting the border into evenly spaced squares if you can. Okay, evenly spaced squares, almost there. Now, if you're doing this in pencil, which you should be doing it in pencil, it will look a little bit different. It's going to be harder to see those lines, okay? So I'm going to flip my paper over and I'm going to pretend I have the whole thing drawn in pencil. So your next step is to make sure you have a glue bottle that comes out easily. So over top of all your pencil lines, it's probably best to start at the top of your paper and work down towards you. So you're going to go over your border lines, making sure you go over all of those details that you have up there. Okay. Again, it's best to start at the top of your paper and work downwards. But notice that I'm trying to make a nice smooth line with my glue. So if I were to drag it or go really fast, my line wouldn't keep up. So I have to continuously squeeze my glue bottle, go slow enough so that you can see the white glue. If you go too slow, so if I go too slow, you're going to end up with these big blobby lines like I have down there at the bottom. So you have to find the correct pace to do that, okay? And then you're just going to go ahead and finish up all of your glue lines all around your tree. Okay, make sure you get your diagonals on the tree itself. If you have a space that didn't quite show up white or didn't quite connect, you can go back over that. And just make sure that when you are ready to let this dry, you've gone over all the lines that you need so that when you pick it up again, when you pick it up next time, you will be ready to add color and all of your lines will have been dried at this point. So this is all done in glue. It's ready to go sit on my drying rack here at school. Put it in a safe place if you're doing this from home so that nobody touches it while it's still wet. It usually takes a few hours to dry completely, especially if you have big puddly lines like I do there. Okay, so we'll end there and I'll pick back up when we add color next time.